Now, some people would think, hey, it's September, there's no cricket on. Wrong. The Road Safety World Series, Australia, India T20 Series, Pakistan, England for the first time in 17 years. Hey, there's some other shit going on. Ben Horne is on the show to tell us why every game forever will now solely be played in India. That's before we get into hashtag ASKTGC. This episode is brought to you by Budgie Smuggler. We're getting right behind the ordinary rig competition. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry, what does September mean to you?
Thank you, Ian. September. It's the blossoming wattle.
It's extremely jarring when you call me Ian.
It's the blossoming wattle. It's the cool morning air. It's cold fingers on the metal zip of your cricket kit.
Okay.
Sweat-laden gear. Dried sweat-laden gear from last season. It's the moment where, in the months preceding, you've permitted yourself actual optimism about the season ahead. And the reason you've done that is because you've been away from the game. You've spent time in, let's say, study or gainful employment or around FOCs, friends outside cricket. People and things and phenomena that lead you to think, yeah, I am good.
Yep.
I am worthy of esteem. I can achieve my dreams. And then September arrives and you melt back into the orbit of cricket players. People side-mouthing about birds again. Someone looks a bit unfit. He gets ostracised and criticised. A well-meaning coach has discussed culture. Nobody pays any attention. You've had your trials. It's selection night. You're still in the same team. And then it's round one. And you think you might just become good at cricket again by virtue of being away from it, you know? It might be carryover from general experience of puberty. You know, in puberty, he goes, Ian, at school, where guys would just go away during the holidays and come back and they've shot up. You know, they've got hairs under their arms.
I remember puberty.
They got hairs under their arms. They've got a deep voice. You know, some teacher will say, oh, footy team will like this.
Yeah.
They might kiss a girl.
Wow.
September is the realisation that cricketing puberty didn't happen to you, much as you wanted it to. And now there's dew around. The ball slaps harder into your hands.
Oh, God.
You're generally a bit cold. Everything at once feels old and new. It's uncomfortable. September's uncomfortable. And it's footy finals, and you can't watch a fucking minute of it.
Yeah, but Pez, this year will be my season. This is it. I'm going to score 500 runs. I'm going to take 35 wickets. I've done nothing during the off-season to achieve any of those things except for a couple of beach runs on a Saturday morning in July. And I'll think, maybe fitness is a thing. Maybe fitness is my thing. Maybe coordination's not a thing. My eyes have gone. I'm 27.
That's September.
That's September. I just remember all the pre-seasons coming to a head in September. You usually start sort of late July, don't you? And then you get into August. We've obviously developed the term August hands, where your hands are so fucking hard from the winter. You haven't caught a cricket ball. There's no suffering up with the hard leather onto your mitts there. And those things fucking slap and it stings. But you're not allowed to say that it stings. It's like for some reason when the ball hits you in that 2 centimetre diameter where your thigh pad isn't.
Yes.
And that hits you and you're like, don't show them pain. Why? I'm going to get that anyway. Why can't I just release some emotion? It's exactly the same as that.
September is for when, like, it's the hardening up of the body and the skin. Like, as you're talking about there, I know bowling leg spin, when you'd bowl in pre-season, your skin had softened, you know, from not needing to try and rip the ball off the small, you know, horrendous finger that you have. And in the course of spinning it off your finger, the skin would rip. And then you wouldn't be able to bowl anymore because the pain would be like sharp and excruciating. And then some experienced first grader would say the way you heal that is by pissing on it. You urinate on your finger. Or you could get something called Friar's Balsam.
What's that?
It's a green liquid obtained at the chemist that you dip your finger in and it like hardens and sort of stickifies your finger.
Oh, I thought it was a constellation.
No.
Is that Fry's balsam?
No. Pryor's balsam was what they used in the 05 Ashes.
Matt Pryor.
So, yeah, September is when you just start realising that all of the dreams that you'd cultivated in the months prior were not going to be realised, and that you're playing all the cricket that you used to playing, but it's just a bit fucking colder, and it all feels a bit new and different. Kit just looks a bit different, all that kind of stuff. But then eventually it's December, and you know.
Your dreams are already over. Now, the one thing that does offset all that pain is that you get to have new kit. A little bit fresher, brighter colours, new patterns, new designs from your Kookaburras, your Grey Nickels, your New Balances. And of course, for the bowlers, you get to realise that the sprigs on your shoes are called Champ. They're made by the company Champ, or they just have Champ on them for some reason. So you're already getting Champ before a bowler's even bowled. But then you get blisters, it's uncomfortable. Everything's uncomfortable in September. And round one, you start wearing because round one is this weekend. It used to be, it used to be always in the AFL Grand Final weekend. And you don't get to watch a fucking thing. But you always get to wear a jumper for maybe 2-3 weeks in the season in Australia. You get to wear, that's in the more northern states in Melbourne. I never played down here, but
you wear a jumper a bit longer than that.
Yeah, sure.
Believe me.
Sure. Oh, I believe you. Anyway, September. Enjoy your dreams dying before the end of the third quarter of the AFL Grand Final.
Speaking of, do you need to make any announcements on the AFL Grand Final or?
Nah, I don't need to. I don't need to.
Like that.
But you're going.
Look, I made a shameless post on Saturday after the Swans won.
Yeah.
Seeking a ticket, throwing myself on my knees.
Yeah.
At the feet of the footy establishment, and I even leveraged pictures of my own children to ask for a ticket.
Yeah.
And then a mate just called me like the next day. I hadn't seen the post. He's like, "You want to come?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, job done.
Yeah, just gone with a few weeks ago, so I deleted those posts hastily.
Yeah, right, okay.
So I'm a tweet deleting idiot.
Wow. Well, I'm more of a Super Bowl guy myself, mate. I sort of go every year now.
You'll sort of find a ticket though, won't you? Because you do no establishment. Nobody get in touch.
Pez, last week on the show...
Don't want it at all.
Last week on the show... We had the post about there was something that went around on social media, mainly because we posted it, was that the who the fuck just hit my car guy. And if we asked about some more information about that exchange. So it was a Queensland Premier Cricket match, I believe, first grade game. Guy hits the ball down the ground, you hear a smashing of the bonnet of the car, I think it was. Guy comes out, who the fuck just hit my car? There's an exchange. We were like, let's get more information about this. And people wrote in. People of esteem themselves wrote in.
I was sent it by Lee Drennan, who was captaining one of the sides. It's from We Got the Chocolates. Great fella.
Oh, yeah.
Good producer of content as well.
Yes.
And I didn't really ask permission to chuck it out there. I kind of just assumed that was the exchange we were doing. Asked for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah.
So I thank him for that piece of content. But yeah, and we asked for more information and got a note from Matt Renshaw. People might have heard of him.
Yeah.
And he noted, following your description of it just then, that he said the best part of this was that the sound that you heard wasn't even his car. That wasn't the loud bang. It actually hit out, in Renshaw's words, our injured opening sticks car, and then it ricocheted into old mate's car and just clipped it. So it wasn't even a big bang onto old mate's car. And then got another note from Nicholas King, who was also playing in the game. Maybe on the other team. He says, he says, and he's given me permission to read this. He says, I was lucky enough to be fielding at Long On last weekend when old mate lost his... It's obviously the term in Brisbane.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be fielding at Long On last weekend when old mate lost his mind at Toombul, best seat in the house. Yeah. Funny enough, that loud bang you hear isn't even his car. It was one of the Toombul players. The ball then bounced twice and lightly hit his car. The peanut then carried on for another 5 minutes. Later on, one of the Toombul players let him know that insurance would cover any damage, and his response was, I don't want your fucking insurance. Then he says, the local crackheads of Nunda, never fail to let you down.
I don't want your fucking insurance. Okay.
I'd love to see what the other 5 minutes was.
All right, well, thanks for that update.
It's a service we try and provide on the show.
Hey, this is the great cricketer. Okay, before we get into the Road Safety World Series pairs, the
Which is
Road
what everyone's
Safety
waiting for.
World Series pairs, which has some funny elements to it, mainly, Sachin in planes. Greycricketer.com for our new line of merchandise, hoodies, caps, t-shirts, etc. There's more to come on that. We've also changed our tiers on Patreon at patreon.com/greycricketer. There is so much coming up on Patreon in the next, I guess, to be fair, about 18 months. And that starts literally tomorrow with the Australia-India T20 series. Then there's obviously the World Cup. Then there's the Australian Summer. Then there's, what else is there? Then Australia goes to India. Then there's an IPL. Then there's an Ashes next year. Then there's a 50 over World Cup. So there's a bit on. And you get all the audio from our YouTube videos exclusively at patreon.com. You sign up for $5 USD or $10 USD a month. You also get discounts off merchandise and also access to pre-sale tickets and VIP tickets at patreon.com/greycricketer. Sam Perry.
On that note, but I can't be too specific, big announcement next week on the Grey Cricketer. Big announcement next week, particularly for people in Melbourne. Okay? So stay tuned, whatever that means. You sort of listen to this show.
Don't fucking do anything. Don't you move a fucking muscle.
Stay subconsciously attuned to something we will announce next week for the people of Melbourne. And then maybe after that, for everybody else in Australia too.
And
What's he
India
talking about?
and the UK.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. The Road Safety World Series is a series of legends that are playing for Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India, England, and Australia. They're all playing. Now, the Australian team, hey, there's some names here, Pez. Watson, White, Hodge, Ferguson, Dunk, Reardon, Hastings, Sayers, Fraser, Lee, Nanas, Haddon. They're all playing for Australia.
You forgot the big one.
Where did I forget?
George Holland Smith.
Yeah. GHS.
Former Geelong Aussie Rules player who was quite the schoolboy cricketer.
Okay.
Who's also in that side and played last night against Bangladesh.
Now, look, when I saw his name on the scorecard, I was like, who the fuck is that? Went to his stats. Not much behind him. Not much. I think he's just changed clubs. In cricket. Okay, good to have an AFL influence. Someone's going to bring us Sharon.
Now, the Road Safety World Series, the reason we're leading off with this is because it's obviously the best cricket that's been played this week.
Right. It's actually the only cricket that's been played this week. Well, that's not true.
It's raising awareness of road safety for starters. Who you've got to be able to get behind that. Road
Always.
One of those things. Who's not behind road safety?
I don't know. Ambulance chasers?
Can't be having much safety around here. I've got to chase an ambulance. So Sonny Gavaska's the commissioner of this. Sonny G. Sachin Tendulkar's the brand ambassador.
Right.
But the clue's in the title, the fucking safety of this. Now,
I thought it was World Series.
It's called like the Sky247.net Legends series or some shit. I'm calling it Road Safety World Series.
But that's what it is called.
Yeah. Well, it's all sorts of stuff.
Anything with World Series in it, though, just, I don't know, a bit baseball for me.
World Series cricket. I mean,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, you fucking trumped me there.
Donald Trump. Now, I guess my first consciousness of this was a picture that was put up a couple of weeks ago.
I wasn't aware this was a thing.
Of every cricketer that you can really remember that played in the last maybe 10, 15 years packed onto what appeared to be a domestic plane in India where there was one economy X row and sitting in 1A was S. Tendulkar and he brought a friend, Yuvraj.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I've seen some clips from Yuvraj recently of someone filming him, watching himself on TV hit Stuart Broad for 6 sixes.
Oh, a bit of goggle box
and he's
stuff.
with a young child, presumably his own.
Right.
It fucking held the levers on it. It's a good clip.
Yeah.
Gee, there was some fluidity and levers to Yuvraj Singh.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
Not the most runs Stuart Broad's ever gone off one over. When Bumrah took him down the other day. Somehow.
Now, Sachin's in 1A, Yuvraj is there, and then every other cricketer you can recognise is there as well.
I noticed S. Watson in row 2.
Yeah, well, it was basically an alpha hierarchy of
it was
of plane tickets.
Who's the alpha? Yeah.
Now, this series started last year. There were 7 teams. There's a new team, New Zealand, but it's basically.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even say New Zealand. Of course.
Yeah. New Zealand's in there. Now, just looking at this, like as soon as I saw the existence of this, I was like, well, I expect Australia to win.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they won. They won them when they played.
Yeah,
you must win
so
again.
I was like, check how they go. How they went last year.
Right.
You know how they went?
No.
0 from 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they have a nice time?
I bet they did.
I bet they did.
I bet they did. But this time around, they've kicked off their whatever the fuck this is.
It's a road safety World Series.
It's just promoting road safety.
Road safety.
Tell you what, driving around Bangalore,
Holy shit. There's an experience.
there was a cow on the road at one point.
Yeah, a couple of cows.
They're good drivers though.
Yeah.
The lanes are there, but they're sort of more a guide than anything. But yeah, it's good driving. A lot of polite beeping. No one goes hard on the horn.
Yeah.
Just a lot of like, I'm here. Yeah.
It's like when you're exiting a stadium. Less touching though with the actual
Good
car.
point. So I just noted that Australia's not from 7, and in the first game they played Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And they went for 220 Australia.
Yeah, they did.
And you think, well, hang on, fucking Binger's opening. Yeah.
yeah.
Binger's getting a bit of shape. He's
Yeah.
shaping away. Dirk Nannis, wheels. But yeah, I think Sri Lanka had blokes that like might have been playing international cricket last year.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Dilshan was opening the batting. With
Right.
like Sam Weir, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was. Yeah.
but then overnight or last night, I don't know, they played Bangladesh and Australia got its first win in the Road Safety World Series ever.
Oh, yeah. So
And
back in
did
the
you
tournament.
did you see how the game went?
No, I didn't catch it, mate. I didn't catch it.
Mate, it's this is a full media property.
How
It's
are you
got
watching this?
YouTube.
Oh,
YouTube, baby.
It's on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Like it's live on YouTube.
I don't know.
Oh, you're watching
I think
highlights.
so. I think it's got all, mate. I think it's like I've seen there's like posts of full games,
Ah.
stuff like that.
On
Anyway,
YouTube.
On YouTube, mate. Yeah, it doesn't seem seems
we are
to
right
really
now.
yeah.
That's the YouTube.com.
YouTube.com, owned by Google, yeah.
Okay.
Now, playing against Bangladesh, looking at the highlights again, being shaping away, Watto's in the grippers.
Oh,
This is fucking Master Series shit.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I am here for it, as they say. Full media production. And obviously then fast forward Australia's bowling, George Hall and Smith and stuff's coming and rolling some offies and taking wickets. And you just go to Watto, mate. And he did it against Sri Lanka as well. It's fucking vintage.
Is it?
Mate, Watto could still do it.
Yeah.
IPL. They could use him in the BBL.
He had a good record in India.
He could be platinum. He could go platinum in BBL.
He could go platinum.
And Australian, like, it was actually incredible scenes. Australia needed like 15 off the last over or something. Brad Haddon at the crease.
Yeah.
And there was like there was a no ball for a boundary, and Haddon needed 8 off 2 and hit 2 boundaries to win it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like there's people in the crowd. It's like a real cricket match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Real cricket. The main thing that I've taken away from this is I've seen Chris Tremlett playing for England, and he looks fucking massive. He is in peak condition. I think he is peak condition year round. Now, like we're obviously
Is that a contradiction in terms though?
what do you mean?
If you're in peak condition year round,
Yeah, sure. There's no tapering off process to reach peak levels. Yes. What I'm saying is he's in great nick all year round. But
I could have left that.
just a little bit of semantics
Yeah.
there. So that's my takeaway. And also they got fucking pumped. England got rolled by, well, I don't know. Also, there's another Legends League happening in India with like other
there?
legends playing. Yeah,
Is that one
Irfan
Mitch
Pathan's
Johnson's
playing.
in?
Oh, I
Mitch
don't know about
Johnson's
that.
in one.
Oh, okay.
I just love that
Same time.
the players retire and they just go to another circuit. I bet they make more money than what Cricket Australia's offering as well.
Probably.
It's just money in India.
Do you remember the Legend series they had where they played in the US and they're playing on Yankee Stadium and stuff? It was
Yeah.
like Warren, Tendulkar,
Yeah,
Lara,
yeah,
Ponting.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
fucking circuit.
Yeah.
That's a circuit.
Oh yeah, Warne and Sachin taking you out afterwards in New York.
Oh, goodness
Hello.
me. Do you reckon they know a place? Brian Lara knows a place. Heaven. Should we talk about the Australia-India T20 series, Pez, which starts tonight?
I mean, he's gone too.
Fuck. That's not what I meant.
I think we did that justice. Road safety World
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Anyway, Australia versus India. The actual two.
The actual
All right, let's
Do you know what people,
next down on the rug.
People writing. Are you guys ever watching the Road Safety World Series?
You guys
You guys ever
don't
watch
even
it?
watch it.
You guys ever
every
watch
ball,
it?
mate. As I always say, every single ball.
Okay, the 3-match series though that Australia's playing for some reason in India on Wednesday, Saturday, and Monday midnight.
Yeah.
That's Australian times. A big ticket item I think for Australia. That Tim David's going to
Yeah,
debut for
maybe.
Australia. That's the first time I'm going to see TD.
Oh, we've seen him in the nets though, haven't we?
Oh my god!
Because he's going to play, right? Like Marsh and Stoinis are injured, so that's just a big old
Stark,
Tim David.
Marsh, Stoinis, all out
Yeah.
with low-level injuries. Ellis, Abbott, Sam's going to replace them. So
Tim David shaped hole.
and
He's-
Warner's rested as well. So Josh Inglis will probably open the batting with Finch.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. But
Big old fucking pins, Josh Inglis. interviewed him last week.
Yeah.
I think he's a keeper.
Yeah.
But it's a thick pin, it's a thick pin, and I give credit to it.
Okay. Bit of chubbing up stuff. Okay.
I'm just paying homage where homage is due.
Sure. Anyway, so Cricket Australia's released some Coley-esque net footage of Tim David, just him absolutely fucking smoking throwdowns. And I'm here for it, I suppose. Now, when I'm watching that, Pez...
I was here for it. It's a fucking high bar to clear now for the ASMR net genre.
Yeah.
Well, once Coley did his thing, like a lot of people tried to...
I had the subtitles on there. It was just bang.
Yeah. Bang. Crack. Yeah, like an old fucking Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Sorry.
I feel like nobody's cleared the Coley ASMR 2018 net genre footage.
Sure.
Footage, right?
But that was the first one that I've seen.
This is about as good as Australia's done, because they've tried a few with Marnus and stuff, but Marnus is normally sort of digging out balls from Stark.
No, but he's just chatting.
Yeah, and he's chatting, and it's a bit of Marnus stuff, which is fine. That's Marnus's brand, chat. But I thought this was pretty good net footage.
The next one I want to say is mukbang.
What's that? Is that an internet thing I've missed?
Yeah, it's an ASMR thing. Now, I could get this wrong, and I'm not even going to look it up, but I think mukbang is like when people are like eating food into a microphone.
Yuck.
Yeah, no, that's actually worst nightmare for
No,
me.
that's an actual affliction people have, though, where they can't actually cop that sound.
Let me look up mukbang.
They can't cop the sound. I don't think that's the clinical term for it, but...
Yeah, mukbang, also known as an eating show, is an online audio-visual broadcast in which a host consumes various quantities of food while interacting with the audience. It's fucking gross. But that's the next thing, just blokes at tea. Just smashing some pizza shapes.
I got to get this word.
MUK.
Misophonia. Strong dislike or hatred of certain sounds.
Okay.
Misophonia, like it drives you mad, chewing or swallowing and stuff like that. I'd say I don't get that with net footage. I can generally deal with the sound of a cricket ball in a bat.
Sure.
I get people eating though.
But my thing with the Tim David net footage, Pez, was like that the blokes with the wanger throwing, that is a fucking hazard. That's a hazard.
I don't know who it was. It's probably someone who's a really storied cricketer. Could be Divinudo or something. I don't know.
I think,
but someone's bowling left arm orthodox, just throwing them, just lobbing them. So it was hitting practice.
Yeah.
And you could see the poor bastard lobbing it up there and basically clearing the net before it was hit. No, but it's
like it's a fucking
absolute
grenade.
Rockets off his bat.
Yeah.
And Australia's needed this because do you remember last year heading into the T20 World Cup in the UAE where we won a few tosses?
Yep.
Heading into it, everybody was talking about how well Mitch Marsh was hitting them.
That's true.
It was
true.
He's hitting them really well in the nets. And like we're always sort of roll the eyes and like, okay.
Didn't Maxwell say better than I've ever seen anyone?
Better than
it was
I've
an
ever
unbelievable
seen anyone
shout.
hit the ball.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he's player of the tournament, wasn't he? Or close. Maybe Warner was.
I think Warner was.
But Marsh was
I think
unbelievable.
He was player in the grand final.
Yeah.
In the grand final.
Yeah, well, it's
see you later.
It's on your mind.
See you later.
He wants a ticket, but he doesn't want to say it. So is Tim David the new Mitch Marsh 10 months later? You know, is it nobody's hitting the ball better than
Poor
David?
old Mitch Marsh just had a small run, didn't he?
He's injured.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened 10 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, the point is we have a new toy in Australian
100%.
cricket. And I think Matthew Hayden a couple of days ago put it best when he said that Tim David has come on in heaps and bounds. Doss is undefeated. We can't...
And that wasn't a typo.
Disagree.
That was reported in numerous sources. Heaps and bounds.
Went and checked a couple other outlets. It was faithfully reported as heaps and bounds.
You make one mistake.
Yeah, that's
I've
right.
I've never misspoken on camera or on the microphone. So
well, it's like, I mean, it's not quite stability of mankind.
No,
and it's not quite 6 months in a leaky boat, which was used. Yeah. Heaps and bounds, that's leaps and bounds. He kind of likes referencing 80s nostalgia songs.
Yeah.
Anyway, could be 90s. Yeah, so Tim David's looking good. Also with this series, he goes, anything else on Tim David?
Don't think so. He's as big and as good as new toy.
From India's side, will Kohli open?
Yeah, Rohit says that he will open in some matches. Now, because they play South Africa after this 3-match series, so that like there's sort of a 6-game run I think they've got. So he might have been talking about that as well, because some matches there's only 3 here for Australia. So, but he's also been said like he's sort of India's third opener. He obviously broke his 100 duck after 1,000 whatever the fuck days, opening the batting against Afghanistan and Dubai. So, and he opens the batting for RCB on occasion or regularly.
Yeah, he opens.
His record's pretty good there. So it's an interesting one. They obviously they want to get the best out of Virat Kohli, and why wouldn't you?
And KL Rahul can't really get one off the square in T20 cricket at the moment as well.
Yeah, true. So
maybe he could bat 3.
Mo Shami has COVID. Boys Yadav is in. Umesh Yadav is in. Harshal Patel is back after his layoff from injury. Both teams' squads is kind of weird. So Australia's missing Stark, Marsh, Stoinis, Warner rested. Cam Green is in this side. Josh Inglis, as I said before, will likely open the batting with Finch, is what they're saying. Are we still talking about Finch? We're still talking about Finch? I just had as a thought, there are 3 matches here. There's apparently 2 against the West Indies and 3 against England, and then a warm-up versus India at the Gabba. That's before the tournament even starts.
Yeah, 10 games or something.
Yeah, and then, let's say Australia make it to the final, that's now 18 games. Now, I feel like the pressure with Finch is that everyone says in T20 cricket, all the players say that, you cannot be consistent in T20 cricket. It's impossible. But I think Finch is under so much pressure that he needs to almost achieve perfection of levels that that are unrealistic for him to not have this pressure on him in the side. You know what I mean? There are all these games. There's 8 games or whatever.
Really?
8 games, 9 games before the tournament even starts. If he scores no runs in those, is he starting the tournament? I don't know. Because he's probably playing all those games.
All those guys, all the sort of pundits seem to agree that he's definitely making it to the first game.
Right.
But just to your point, I think all people are looking for is to see if he can make a big score again.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like it's been a minute.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's probably all he needs. All people want to see is have you still got something in you that might help us in a big game, in a semi or a final or something like that.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's the only thing people want to see because everybody loves him as a skipper. They love him as a tactician, love him as a bloke, not even in that order. And we just haven't seen it for a bit, and everyone's willing it. Everyone's willing it on because, if there's a new captain at this point, it'd probably have to be Cummins. I don't think anyone's going to muck it around to that point. But I don't know what else really needs to be said on that.
Yeah, Australia's first game in that World Cup is against New Zealand at the SCG, and Trent Bolt might be licking his chops at the old front dog there.
Out at the other end. Out at the other end. Get off strike.
Against Southey or Scott Henry or Mitchell Santner.
Scott Henry?
Yeah, the Queensland player.
Sydney Uni in Queensland.
Yeah, Sydney Uni Queensland player.
He actually roll him out quite nicely.
I'm thinking of Matt Henry.
Matt Henry.
Good stuff. Pez, let's talk about let's talk to Ben Horne, who had an article in the Australian the other day about this new
Some fucking new shit in India. There's heaps of money.
They're going to offer top tier players $1 million for about fucking 15 minutes of work, which rivals the Cricket Australia contracts.
That's right.
The Cricket Australia they only get 12-month contracts. And the players want, can you give us 3-year security here? And they're like, nah. Rebel leagues in there's a city-based league, rivaling in the IPL basically, or spin-off of the IPL.
Well, it's like Cummins' manager is saying, Maxi is saying, Glenn Maxwell that is saying, no, Neil Maxwell is like, well, there's a city-based league where you can play 2 or 3 games and get the same amount of money as a Cricket Australia contract. It's like he's playing for a city team, the equivalent of Penrith. Anyway.
Anyway, that's what we're talking to Ben Horne about. But Pez, the ordinary rig competition at Budgie Smuggler, of course, budgiesmuggler.com, which is, as we know, is an apparel company now, not just swimwear. But the entries for the ordinary rig competition close October 3. That is a mere
13 days.
A mere Sahale. A mere 13 odd days away.
Let's call it 2 weeks.
Let's round that up. Let's call it 2 weeks. Always round up, except when you're being specific about the entries closing October 3. What do you want to say about the ordinary competition?
Oh, we want your entries. Some good entries coming in as well. We'd like to see more from grade cricketers whose rigs should, I don't know if does your rig get better or worse when cricket season starts. I'd imagine it gets worse. What with afternoon teas and beers and all. I'm just wondering where people's rigs may be at. That's
an interesting one because I feel like the cliche is putting a bit of winter weight.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys playing grade cricket, playing rugby, or they're playing soccer in the off season, or Quidditch.
Yeah.
But then you get into the summer months, and of course, it's just open slather with barbecues, pizza shapes, Lamingtons Deluxe, Tim Tam, see you later.
Party pies, party sausage rolls.
Yes,
doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
Nothing more nothing makes you realize how unathletic your pursuit is when having like a hot sausage roll in a break of your sporting pursuit.
Yeah. But you're 23, so doesn't do anything, just falls. You lose 5 kilos eating it. I miss those days.
Halcyon days.
But if you want to submit your rig or incentivize, persuade one of your mates to submit their rig for this ordinary rig competition, chuck it up on the socials. Let's call it Insta. Let's call it Facebook, and use the hashtag ordinary rig AUS, ordinary rig Oz. Tag TGC in it. We've gone through the prizes before. You're going to get flown if you're nominated as one of the top 10 ordinary rigs. And there's plenty of people going in with this. You're going to get flown to Sydney, massive circuit. You're gonna put your rig on display at a huge event. We'll be there, and if you happen to win, you're going to get 10K. 5K of that will go to your club or organisation of your choice. The other 5K to you. It's a pretty good result. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what the criteria are, but we've gone through it. We're basically just saying, like, just have an ordinary rig. Don't be showing off a 6-pack. But if you do have a 6-pack, congratulations. On your discipline, obviously. Yep. But just be carrying a 6-pack as well. You just want it to be social. You just want to be a rig that we can celebrate regardless of its shape and size.
Yeah.
Right? But get those rigs in. That's what we want. That's the message.
I feel like cricketers in Australia might be coming back to the show maybe after the winter off season, coming back to it. I think people at the club should be engaging in some sort of horseplay to gather entries for this competition.
Yeah, horseplay gathering.
Because money does go towards your club.
Yeah.
5K nonetheless.
You might be at your club going, one of these blokes has the most ordinary rig, and by ordinary we don't mean to sledge that rig.
No, it is so ordinary.
It's actually average, like most of the players.
It's like when you break down the term extraordinary. That is extraordinary.
Yeah. Extraordinary, that's right. And that's kind of what we're going for here.
Extraordinary.
We're trying to demonstrate that any ordinary rig is still extraordinary in its own way, and that's what we're celebrating.
I love that.
Ordinary Brett Sprigg. He's a good commentator.
What a
Spriggy.
reference.
He's a good
What a
commentator,
reference.
Spriggy. G'day, Spriggy.
That's budgiesmuggler.com, and of course Budgie Smuggler all over the socials. T20 Stars, Pez, we've got some stuff coming up with T20 Stars.
Yeah, some good stuff.
But
you'll see T20 Stars all through socials now, because Watto is using his T20 Stars gear to pump Masters international cricketers all around the ground.
See you later.
I tell you what, if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. If you want a little bit of your own private tab shit, jump onto the highlights of the Road Safety World Series. Have a go at Watto with his T20 Stars kit, playing straight down the ground. God, it's a fuck. Has a base ever been more stable?
Never. And I genuinely mean that, never.
Yeah. Has a base ever been more stable? Has a face of a bat been fuller?
It looked wider, didn't it? Now, speaking of which, Nick Maddinson actually got done for it. Who's he playing for? Is it not
Durham?
Is it Durham?
Is he a Durham boy?
I
think he's Durham.
I think it might be Durham. He got done for having his bat was too wide.
Yeah.
His bat was too wide.
He wasn't using T20 Stars kit.
He
Can tell you.
It's all legitimate.
Tell you that it is regulation size.
Yep.
T20 Stars kit has passed all the tests.
Yep.
Watto's using it to bosh blokes around. Already boshed Sri Lanka and Bangladesh around. There'll be more to come. They'll be quaking in their boots. India and West Indies and whoever else they're playing. But we're doing some good shit. On Friday.
Yeah.
And people are going to see this soon, but on Friday, Higos and I are heading to the Nets.
Well, there's a state game. We'll say
we're going to Junction Oval. We're going to Junction Oval to test out full T20 Stars kit. So we've got full kit, bats, gloves, pads.
Yeah.
Watto asked me on WhatsApp, here we go, under the hood here. He said, what size bat do you want? And it was a bit tough for me because... he's talking about cricket kit. I want to play it cool, so I played. Played a couple of blokes. A couple of blokes who played. Yeah. Talking about cricket. And I have to say, I never really knew the weight of my bat. I picked it up.
Yeah,
it's not a big. It's not. It's
not a railway sleeper.
And it's not a strong frame. We're talking about myself here.
Yeah.
I was always a light batsman. Yeah. And I thought, well, why don't you give us one that's 2.9 and one that's 2.10, so then we can, pick it up and walk past it and say, is that 2.9, that's 2.10, etc. Then I thought, no, 2.10 is going to be too heavy. So I asked to change. He said, no, I've already put the order in. And he said, what size pads and gloves do you want? And all of that. And I was like, I asked him, is this what it's like to be sponsored?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, pretty much. So you just put your order in. And anyway, they've sent it to us. So we're heading out to the nets on Friday. And this is our love for T20 stars. We're going to be prepared to put our techniques and styles out there on the internet.
Yeah.
In a bid to firstly cuck ourselves.
Right.
But also to demonstrate the quality of this kit.
Right. I've got some fears here, Pez, because obviously in Melbourne specifically, it's a 4-day long weekend because, of course, the Queen passing away. They're having the public holiday on Thursday. Then Friday is the public holiday for the AFL parade.
Final,
Then Saturday, Sunday. So 4-day weekend. Now, I'm going out on Thursday. I've got a dinner. I've got a dinner planned. Couple of beers. Heading into the nets. Haven't hit a cricket ball in, let's call it 5 years.
Yep.
But looking forward to getting that front foot press going, get my front pad blown off from throwdowns.
I don't think I can throw anymore.
See, mate, I was already because then we're going for beers after that as well. And I'm already worried about how sore my fucking
your back and your side,
my back,
your
my
shoulder.
side's going to be.
I'm worried about my forearm, my left forearm from my top hand grip.
Oh, we got to get sweatbands.
Yeah,
buy sweatbands. Otherwise, people won't think I'm Mark War.
Yeah,
that's he goes from the grade cricketer. That's not Mark War.
Is that Mark War? He's wearing a sweatband. I used to wear a sweatband just so my arm felt bigger. Just my forearm. It just had a bigger girth. If you put a tape measure around it, it's bigger.
Like Popeye over here.
Is that Popeye or is that a sweatband?
Is that Popeye?
No, it's actually just a sweatband. Don't even have to eat spinach. Well, I was singing that to my son last night, actually. He didn't want to touch his spinach.
Oh, yeah?
So if you go up in his face and sing Popeye, is that going to make him eat it? No. But do I enjoy myself? Well...
Let him know you're there.
And that's all in a bid to demonstrate to you, the listener, because we already know it to be true, that T20 Stars kit is quality. I mean, as I think of it, is this ill-conceived because it's two blokes who haven't hit cricket balls for years?
Yeah.
It's going to have to be heavily edited.
You can't blame the tools.
Yeah, as a bad tradesman can't blame his tools. But guess what? We're doing it because it's actually in training for what has already been booked in, which is a net with Watto himself.
Good.
Now, what the fuck does that look like?
I don't know.
Who's bowling? Am I bowling leggies?
I kind of want to face Watto because, you he got a bit of tail. And I want him to fucking shin me.
Man, yeah.
I want to blow me front pad off.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to feel that, like a weight of a Shane Watson delivery on my front stool.
Yeah. Well, we had this issue, speaking of getting shins, and just someone bowling a ball. We were working out what we're going to do on Friday, and then we're like, does anyone have any cricket balls? We're like, we're not going to turn up.
Okay, so we're looking for a grand final ticket and some fucking rocks.
So... I don't know if I presume we're in the indoor nets there, not outdoor, but take outdoor.
There's literally a state game going on at the same time.
We were told you're just gonna have to come in after the game starts.
Oh,
but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. We have Watto bowling. I was listening to Gideon and Pete's podcast on the way in here, and Gideon described Watto's bowling in the Masters series, Road Safety series, as he said his batting was vintage and his bowling looked arthritic. I mean, I still think even if it's true, which firstly, that'd be understandable. Secondly, I still reckon he'd get tail.
Yeah, mate. Oh.
In his pomp, he was when he couldn't bowl 140s anymore, Watto, he turned into this extremely skillful in-swing bowler.
Economical, yeah. And
it's all given away to T20 Stars. Get your kit and use the code TGC15 to get 15% off all of that shit. It's good kit. It's good gear. T20stars.com.
Here he is. Here's Ben Horne.
He goes, I read the other day, and I'm going to quote here from a piece. Pat Cummins has become the target of an extraordinary secret threat to cricket's establishment, with Australian administrators warned to heed the frightening wake-up call. As if the Indian Premier League with its $8 billion television deal wasn't a big enough danger, a new Indian subculture has emerged where state associations are creating cashed-up city-based leagues which resemble mini IPLs. We have got the author of that article on the line, on the Zoom call with us. It is the chief cricket writer from News Corp and tragic North Sydney Bears fan like myself, Ben Horne. Benny, welcome back to TGC.
Thanks for having us, guys. Yeah, I probably should read back my intros a bit more. I might need to tone things down a bit, leave out a few adjectives and that kind of thing.
It's good. No, it's good gear. But we thought we'd get you on to to tell us a little bit more about it. What the fuck is a city-based league? And what are you hearing about what's happening in India now, and I guess more efforts to take our big players away from us?
Yeah, well, it's sort of like, as if the IPL is not enough with its $6 billion TV deal and, trying to expand over almost 3 months now. Basically, there's probably about 5 or 6 cities in India that are represented by IPL teams that now have these almost mini IPLs set up in those cities. So basically, they're city-based leagues that have sold their own broadcast rights. They've done their own marketing deals. And, look, I suppose they're second grade sort of tournaments, but in terms of a monetary sense, they're still throwing around a lot of coins. So it just shows like just how deep this threat to the way that we've known cricket to be for so long, just where it's all going. And the fact that a city-based league, as you say, could offer a player like Pat Cummins over $1 million is difficult to comprehend.
And it's also, Ben, like, it's also not just $1 million, though that is appealing. It's $1 million for like 7 overs. Like it's $1 million for nothing in terms of tenure playing for this team. But do you think it's actually realistic that maybe not this generation, maybe not actually Pat Cummins, but maybe like Tim David's sort of the first mercenary I think we've seen in Australian cricket where he's just gone, no, just T20 leagues. But like, is it actually realistic? Do you think that it may come to a point where a guy just doesn't want to play for Australia because he will just do this and do some IPL and then we lose a proper international player?
Oh, I think it's certainly possible, 100%. I mean, the Tim David situation was fascinating earlier this year, that he was actually to be picked to play for Australia against Sri Lanka. And yeah, sure, it was a mutual decision for him not to play that. But, there'd be players from past generations who couldn't quite understand how that could happen, that someone would turn down the chance to play for Australia. But it actually was a smart option for him to take. But look, it's really difficult to know where it's all going. But particularly with Australian cricket, playing for Australia is sort of has to be the root of it all, because that's what the public buys into. They will support players who play for Australia. So it's difficult to know how you would go publicly in terms of your acceptance as a cricketer if you decided to go down a different path, because I think Australian cricket fans want to see international cricket. So that's the difficulty for the game. They've got to find that balance where the cricketers sort of need international cricket to, I think, keep their status and their celebrity, I suppose. But then it's in these franchise leagues, which is where the overwhelming amount of money is coming from.
I think part of what's sort of comic about this news is just the idea that like a city-based league from places in India that most Australians won't have heard of, which says more about us than them, is able to probably pay out a Cricket Australia contract with like a couple of games of T20 cricket. But in all seriousness, like, how does Cricket Australia compete with the like tidal wave of riches in Indian cricket? Like, if city-based leagues are able to eventually pay more money than Cricket Australia can, like, what does Cricket Australia compete on, Ben? Like what vision can they sell players that says to them, like, look, we cannot pay you, even with private equity, we can't pay you what, the money that's flying around in India at the moment. Beyond sort of prestige of the baggy green, is there any vision available to Cricket Australia that players, the younger players might go like, yeah, I'm going to take a huge haircut for this?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I think the private equity situation that you touched on there has to become a serious conversation, because to compete at all, particularly for the Big Bash, it's just, the money is becoming so astronomical overseas that, that has to be seriously considered. Look, I guess one thing that they can do is there's going to have to be an increased level of flexibility, isn't there, in terms of what your contract allows you to do elsewhere. But I think it does pretty much come down to the prestige of playing for Australia and selling the fact that this is what makes you as a cricketer. You might not make as much money out of this, but this is where you are remembered. This is where, your contributions to the game are remembered beyond 5 minutes after the final ball's bowled. So it's a difficult situation, but Cricket Australia basically has to, I think, financially make it worthwhile. It won't be perhaps as much money as they could earn as a free agent, but make it financially worthwhile and offer alternatives, I suppose. We need the Big Bash to make some huge advancements. Maybe there can be some city-based leagues here. Who knows? But let's compete with our own city-based league.
It's funny because I feel like the value that these guys are getting, like when they picked up in auctions for at the moment, the value of them is what they have achieved in international cricket. So, Steve Smith is valuable because of what he's done for Australia. Josh Butler for what he did for England. Even Virat Kohli, his legendary status isn't what he's done for RCB. It's what he's done for India. So it's almost like these guys need to achieve at the international level to then be bought off by these franchises. But then I wonder what might happen is if, as in with football, you get to the World Cups and then guys have to achieve at that level and then they might get picked up by an IPL team. So then international cricket becomes this feeder league for European football, for the IPL. I wonder if that's a thing. Because at the moment, if Stoinis scores 100 for the Stars, that's good. But if he scores 100 for Australia, his price will skyrocket for Delhi Capitals or whatever. So, but I think it's shifting. I feel like it's going to shift for international.
Tim David hasn't played for Australia, and he went for bucket loads.
That's
for
true.
NI, so
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you've articulated what I was trying to say, which is that it will be interesting if there's a tipping point back the other way, where if there's less international cricket and there's less, the performances for Australia happen less, whether that will then affect the whole balance of where this is all going. Because I agree. I think particularly in Australia, I think Australian cricket fans, they could not care less about any franchise league that's going on anywhere in the world, even the Big Bash. I don't think people really care, what the individual achievements are of the players. It really is about playing for Australia. So that's the danger, and that's where they do need to find the balance. But I think the comparison you're making is right, that we probably are heading a lot more towards where European soccer is, that they're going to have to find windows for international cricket as opposed to finding windows for franchise cricket.
And if we are talking about Australia setting up a rival city-based league, okay, what about this? What about this?
This would be good.
Sydney grade cricket versus County Twos, England versus India gully cricket. Let's get media rights. Let's put it on YouTube.
You're talking about a World Series type.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of, you talk about prestige and, some intangible value.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in cricket wants to work out who's got the best grassroots players. Everyone thinks they've got the best. Sydney grade cricketers always think they could play county cricket. Bring a couple of County Twos guys out here. They're already out here anyway. They can represent their own teams. India has gully cricket. Gully cricketers who are probably better than all of us. Bring them out here or wherever. We'll probably do it on our decks. And get media rights, put it on YouTube. We'll commentate, Maxi around, sell it off. This is the kind of innovative thing we need. Endeavour Hills, they have more money than grade cricket. Dilshan's playing for Sri Lanka Masters at the moment, and Endeavour Hills.
Yeah,
I just think there's opportunities that we need to explore. We're a bit too narrow thinking about international cricket. I don't know. If I sort of PR'd you that, Ben, whether you'd write that.
Yeah. Well, do you think these clubs could still, if you're St George Cricket Club, do you think you could still convince Josh Hazlewood to come back and play? I mean,
well, $1 a run, give him a meat tray. Cope's captain, tub first. There are things clubs can offer. Clubs can offer that the intangibles that a gully cricket side simply couldn't. A couple of the old blokes are there up at Hurstville Oval with a beer. Is Josh Hazlewood going to turn up for Chennai Gully? If he's at Hurstville Oval and Nathan Pillen and Moses are there, up in the stand. I don't know. These are things to consider.
Oh yeah. But let me ask you. Do you now that Australia is coming back into the cricket, coming back into the consciousness of the Australian people after the next couple of weeks, obviously footy finals.
Yeah.
But do you get a sense that the Australian cricket public are aware just yet of like how much that $8 billion Australian IPL rights deal has changed things? Or do you think it might be like another summer or two, or like wonder why there's no cricket in January because the South African players fucked up to do their thing? Like, do you think that we as a public are aware yet?
Yeah. Until then.
No, I don't. Like, I actually feel like cricket has completely changed in the last 8 months before our eyes, but I don't think most people are actually aware that any of this has happened.
Yeah.
So no, I agree. I think people are, to a large extent, sort of overhearing about it. To be honest, overhearing about the IPL. This, I think people's attitude is, well, if you don't want to play for Australia, then go away, sort of thing. I don't think people have any bandwidth at all for the IPL. Like, and it's a funny thing. It's like it's the biggest thing in cricket, but I just don't think fans in Australia will ever engage in the IPL or have any interest in it.
Well, I mean, the D's are playing. The Bears are in the State Cup. It's on at midnight. I think you're right. I think until Boxing Day or the New Year's Test becomes, the MI Stars versus the the Adelaide Super Kings double header, to be fair, and a couple of good guys going around.
It's always a good day.
I think Aussies are probably just going to be like, who we got in the test.
Yeah. Look at like South African cricket, to me, is kind of right now where you look at it and you go, yeah, wow, that's they've basically given up Test cricket. They're basically committed to 2 tests a summer for the next whole period, and it's just all sold out for their franchise league. So, I know Cricket Australia's in a lot better position than South African cricket, but it is a bit of a warning to where things could go.
I think even Gilchrist said in like 2010 that it's like, no, this is the future. And I've just realised that about maybe a week and a half ago. So.
That's right. Well, there's been some good footy on. There's been some good footy on.
Hey, the Swannies are doing well, aren't they?
Yeah,
hey?
That's right.
Yeah.
Ben Horne, thanks for shedding some light on that with us, mate. Appreciate it. I hope we haven't trivialized your professional job, because this is a big story, but we're just turning it into laughs because that's how we cope.
No, at least a few people now have probably heard that first paragraph that they may not have read already anyway. So appreciate the publicity.
Nice one. Ben Horne, Chief Cricket Writer, News Corp.
Thank you very much to Ben for his time. Pakistan and England, Pez, they're playing 7 T20s. The first match is on tonight, Pakistan time in Karachi. This is the first time that in 17 years that England have toured Pakistan. Of course, we know about what happened earlier in this year where they pulled. Was that this year? Where they pulled out just after New Zealand had pulled out as well. It was last year, was it? Yeah, that sounds much more accurate. It was last year because Australia would just So I think the main talking point that I've seen, Pez, about this series, other than it's obviously amazing that England are back touring Pakistan. Lots of celebration about the PSL, getting guys back into, like England specifically, getting back over there to play in Pakistan. Obviously, Pakistan have had a long drought of having international cricket in their country, and it was so good to see Australia tour there. There's so many people that were happy that Australia was there, and that's the most important thing.
Yes.
But there's a really interesting piece here with Alex Hales, who's now back into the squad. He's replaced Johnny Bairstow into the World Cup squad, and he is playing in this squad as well in Pakistan for this 7 T20 match series. So
seven T20s.
Seven. Man, I know, it's unbelievable.
It's just reps for the World Cup, isn't it? Just getting reps up.
And it's 7 games in 3 days as well. So
back to back. It's actually getting it done in a day.
Yeah, that's right.
Start again.
So Stokes and Alex Hales hate each other.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he called him his former friend.
Right. So in the
somebody used to know as a Gorgeous song.
In Stokes' new movie, which makes it sound like he's a movie star now, he refers to Alex Hales as my friend at the time when speaking about the punch on in Bristol that happened in 2017. And then, as we know, with Alex Hales, he then failed a second drug test, like on the eve of the 2019 World Cup, where he was going to be in this World Cup squad. He was always the first reserve batsman. Jason Roy was still ahead of him, opening the batting for England at the time, but that was his second drug ban. And then that's when he got I think the ECB's policy is the first warning is like it's announced to very few people, and they just get like some counselling and stuff. The second warning is they have to miss 3 weeks and a percentage of match fees or financial punishment. And then the third one is like a 12-month ban, which happened to a guy who used to, I forget his name. He used to play England in the 19s. Anyway.
Do we know? Do we know what his poison was?
Cocaine.
Fucking hell. I mean,
Yeah. So
you're not. It's not making you a better player, is it?
it is a weird one, isn't it? Yeah.
No, but it's like all drug. I don't know that kind of stuff. It's just like, drugs bad. Drugs are no good. And that you may as well bash yourself around the head. But like,
Yeah.
He's not going out and pumping everybody everywhere. It's kind of like it's his problem, isn't it?
Yeah. I have the same thought as well. But so the ball
Didn't mind a bump.
A bump this bloke. Yeah, all the SCB players they get like hair follicle tests. Might just be an international thing, might be an ICC thing. Can't remember, but and then he failed that. And cocaine stays in his system with that test for 3 months. So he obviously had that. Within that time frame, but it was just on the eve of the 2019 World Cup, and then obviously Owen Morgan basically swore off him that he'd never play again. Then the 2017 incident with Stokes in Bristol obviously happened, and then he's obviously had some sort of. It doesn't seem to me with Hales. Now I don't know him, never met him, never spoken. Actually, I've spoken to one person about him, and he says that he was a good bloke.
So consider that too.
Yeah.
Factor that in.
There's always the yin to the yang, isn't there? I know one guy said he's a good bloke.
I don't know him. I don't know how he's going, but I know one guy who said he's a good bloke. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Smithy said he was a good bloke.
Yeah, but there's obviously something about like, Owen Morgan said that he had let down the team and he just didn't fit into the team ethics and whatnot. And then obviously whatever the fallout there with Stokes was, he's obviously upset people on an emotional level. And it's more just beyond like him just letting himself down. There's obviously deeper levels to that, but I read with this on ESPN Cricket Info as per Matt Roller. This is Matthew Mott being quoted. They might not be the best mates, referring to Stokes and Hales, and that's okay. I'm sure you work with colleagues all the time who aren't your best mate, but you can work with them if you've got a common goal. Ben's come out and stated that as well. He wants to win World Cups. I'm sure Alex does as well, and we all do. So we try and pick the best players, and if they end up becoming good mates again, that's great. If not, as long as they're going towards that goal of winning the World Cup together, then that's how teams function. Josh Butler's obviously the T20I captain now of England, and after Bairstow got injured slipping over in the on the tee box, Harrogate I think it was, he called several senior players, but it was Matthew Mott who had a decisive call with Trevor Bayliss, who obviously has history with him at the Sydney Thunder, right? Bayliss said that he had no problem with him, and then everyone was good to go, so he's in the squad. But it is an interesting one where Hales is there is some deep levels to his relationship with the team, but I know a guy says he's all right, so
yeah, I like. It's such a great arena for like media conversation because it's basically what's he like as a bloke, which is more important than any runs you score or anything you do on field.
And
or
he has scored fucking stacks of runs, so he's the leading run scorer in the Big Bash by a factor of a lot. Since like 20 fucking whatever.
He's back in the side on merit, basically.
Yes.
Like England do have
and a great record in
overs.
Australia. Yep.
Yeah. But like, sometimes you can read between the lines on things, but like I don't know. I don't get the impression listening to our UK colleagues that there seems to be any like abiding idea that he's a coach. Normally you can like kind of intone things from the way people talk. The players talk to journos and stuff, or you might see him out on the circuit. I don't know. But like nobody, I'm just basically backing up what you said, which is what your mate said. Yeah, which is good bloke, but I don't have any idea.
Yeah, but when this level of angst is like out in the public and they're openly saying like, they're not mates.
Well,
that's quite unusual.
You're right. Or when a coach says they may not be the best of mates, like that's basically saying they fucking hate each other. Keep them away 10 paces at least.
Yep. I want these two to bat together and not talk in between overs.
Yeah, like Mark and Steve Waugh. But that was more because they were talking via.
I played with a guy like that once. He just like he like didn't come down at the end of the over, and so I like took like 3 paces and I just saw he was like standing at the other end, and I was like, okay, I guess we're done here.
That's some boomer Gen X stuff as well. walk down the crease, just look at each other and go.
It was actually the same guy who he walked down and then he just said Inshallah and then walked away.
Really?
I was like,
but see that guy, that could be a bit.
I think he was bitting me up.
Yeah, he's doing a bit.
Yeah, it's very distracting because he was a much better player than me. So he could handle that.
Inshallah.
My head was gone for fucking 3 overs after that. Oh, you batted another 3 overs, did you? Yeah, it was one of my great days of that season.
I I think it's very cool that they're playing cricket in Pakistan again. Obviously, they did against Australia,
Yeah.
but like it's a momentous series because they're returning after 17 years.
Yeah.
England, and yeah, as you mentioned before, there was a really less than fortunate. It was basically Pakistan looked after England during COVID stricken times.
Yeah.
And England dogged them last year for spurious reasons.
Yeah.
Big series for. I mean, let's face it. Sorry. No one's going to remember one result of this game in about 3 weeks' time.
No.
If it's even still going then. But big series for Matthew Mott. I thought it's a bit of a Matthew Mott, Joss Butler coming out party.
Nice.
In cricket terms. And but that said, Joss Butler is even playing. Moeen Ali's captaining. And that's pretty cool because Moeen Ali was born in Pakistan and hasn't played for England in Pakistan. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
He's played PSL.
Of course, yeah.
And I suppose the other thing on Hales is that he is like a PSL specialist. He's played like 28 games, so he probably knows a bit about Pakistan and playing there.
Like I saw with Hales, only Rashid Khan has played more T20 games in domestic leagues than him since whatever the year is.
But there
like
was
10
that
years ago.
time that the Victorian Premier cricketer bowled bumpers at him.
That's right.
That was pretty good.
That's right. That was pretty good. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was like first year of our podcast. When was that? 2016.
Yeah, we got him on.
We got him on.
Stephen Reed.
That's right.
His name.
That's right.
Reedy.
Great memory from you.
It was quick.
It was quick. Didn't get him out. Got him out in the end.
Yeah, everyone went ballistic,
Mm.
and it was a real catch, then quiet, then yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you catch the Queen's funeral last night?
No.
It was good service, to be fair.
Was it?
Sort of saying that like an afternoon tea spread.
No, I watched the third
Spread.
episode of House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Any tie into that or?
I've just got in my notes. Moeen Ali captain, place of his birth, Butler there but not playing. Queen, good service to be fair.
What a week for cricket.
Should be mentioned.
What a week for cricket. Anyway, that's going on. The other news pairs around the world now, the SA20 player auction is, or you mean the SAT20? No, it's called SA20. And Graham Smith says that's how committed we are to doing things differently. So you know it's going to be good. Now, the auction was last night. We stayed up all night for watching that. So the SA20 competition, it's 33 games.
2 screens going, Australia, Bangladesh and the SA20 player auction. 2 screens going.
33 games, 6 teams play each other twice, home and away, 2 semis and a final. Let me tell you the teams pairs. MI Cape Town.
You can read every player from every team.
No.
Right,
No, I'm telling you the teams. Sorry, the names of the teams.
Right.
I'm going to give you the fucking full squads. Yeah, Jesus Christ. MI Cape Town, Durban Super Giants, Johannesburg Super Kings, PAL Royals, Pretoria Capitals, and Sunrisers Eastern Cape. There were 533 players in the auction last night. Pairs 248 of those were South Africans. And the base level for the top tier was 100 grand. I have no idea who's got picked in what. I'm just telling you what's happening in the SA20 thing.
MI Cape Town have a good team.
Do they?
Rabada, Brevis, Rashid Khan, Liam Livingston, Sam Curran, Van der Dussen, and some other coats.
That's pretty good.
Ollie Stone.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, Ollie Stone's back. It's interesting.
No Aussies.
Really?
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, because it's the end of the Big Bash and then...
NOCs, baby.
Then they go to India after that. Indian women are playing against the England women at the moment in an ODI series. In the first ODI, India smashed them, chasing 27-3 down. In Australian news, Rachel Haynes retires. And I liked her quote. Talking about this, Pez. She said, I had the opportunity to pause and reflect after the Commonwealth Games. Looking ahead, knowing it's a lot of cricket coming up, and probably the thing that stood out for me was that I wasn't that excited about getting ready. And that's probably the first time in my career that I felt like that. And I've got to tell you, that must be very relatable for a lot of club cricketers getting to September. If you're not excited about the potential. I want to come full circle.
How old were you? How old were you when that happened?
29. I played another 2 years. The last year was a tough year.
19 for me.
19. You weren't excited about playing cricket at 19. When did you stop? When did you start playing in mid-20s? Late 20s?
25.
25. I thought, yeah. 19.
I was only 19.
Red gum.
Red King.
Pez, I went to a wedding on the weekend.
Yeah. Can we talk about... Are we going to come back to Rachel Haynes?
No, we're not. Let's talk about Rachel Haynes.
She's one of the great Australian cricketers.
Yeah.
Won a T20 World. She had like 2 halves of her career.
Yeah.
Really. Second half, absolute gun.
Average like 45.
Yep.
Yeah.
Won a T20 World Cup in 2018 and 2022. Won a 50 over World Cup. Won the Colm Games. 84 T20Is, 77 ODIs, 6 tests, 4,000 runs across 3 formats, 98 in test debut. Missed out on a ton there. Only played 6 tests. 2 ODI centuries, 19 half centuries. She captained Australia 14 times. Put on 160 with Lisa Healy in the recent ODI World Cup final. And leaves a bit of a captaincy issue for the Australian team because Lanning is on an indefinite break.
Yeah.
Perhaps Lanning will come back. We don't know.
Yep.
But bit of a gap there and questions over who might be next. Might be Lisa Healy. Don't know. But hell of a player and could play all round the order as well. Could open the batting.
Yep.
Could fix it up in the middle order as well.
Right.
Quality to watch. I don't know. And solid character as well. We interviewed her last week. Made no mention of her retirement. Rude.
Yep.
And it was funny actually. It was interesting actually talking to the female cricketers. One of the questions we put away was like I was asking all the blokes, "Do you love cricket?" Because when I asked the first few women that came in, they all loved it.
Yeah.
You know, and you probably do have to love it to, to play for the relatively little money they get compared to the men. But I kind of wish I'd asked Rachel Haynes now. She might be like,
used to.
Don't know. I reckon if you get to 35, loving the game all the way through, and then 35, you go, you know what, hang them up.
Yeah,
that's pretty good
mate,
effort.
Like, isn't it like if you're good, why would you stop playing? Because you get the serotonin hits all the time. You get the satisfaction, that sweet satisfaction.
Would you?
I feel like you would more than us fucking dickheads.
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's all just relative, isn't it? You're just different kit, just hitting balls and.
Yeah, I guess so.
Coach talking here.
Got the internet blokes. Fucking hell. What a
Anyway,
player.
you went to a wedding. Rachel Haynes, valet.
Indeed. I went to a wedding last week. It was great. I heard a story that shocked and appalled the table that I was sitting at. Now, it was a story that it comes from a reliable source, I will say. It came from one of my good friends' wives. And she was saying that she had been to a wedding. I think it must have been in London because that's where she's living at the moment. She's from Australia, and she was saying that she was going to go to a wedding. Let's call it. It was a Saturday wedding. The wedding gets called off on a Friday night. Wedding call off, wash out. No, sorry.
The question's lingering in the air.
Okay, so there was no weather relating to the washout of the wedding because the wedding was washed
so we
out.
can rule out a washout, but it was a washout.
Yeah, the covers went on.
Oh. Could mean other things too.
Okay, here's what happened the night before the wedding, and I want to believe this is true because it's from a reliable source. This person has no reason to lie other than the story is outrageous.
Yeah.
So
yeah, one of those stories where the person who tells it has no record of being a compulsive liar.
No record.
At all.
No record of that.
Nothing in their character suggests they
No
have
record.
a reason, narcissistic or otherwise, to tell such a story. But you still then wonder afterwards, it's such an appalling story that perhaps this person's a compulsive liar and you just never saw it. But no, you're ruling that out.
I'm ruling it out for now.
Great.
For now. Okay, so the night of the wedding, the sister of the bride.
Night before the wedding?
Night before the wedding. What did I say?
Night of the wedding?
Incorrect. Night before the wedding. The sister of the bride.
Oh, shit. I've seen this one.
They're staying in a hotel or they're staying in the venue or whatever. You know how the bridal party stays for a location wedding. You know how it works. The sister of the bride knocks on the door of the groom the night before the wedding.
Fuck me.
She opens the door. And what does she see? She sees the groom-to-be breastfeeding on his own mother.
What? Bitty. What the fuck?
That's what I said. And I said, why do they call off the wedding?
So what's the problem here?
yeah, but why do they call off the wedding? I don't have any more information than that.
Oh, she didn't elaborate.
So this...
Fuck, is that Alpha? Who's the Alpha? Once again, another installment of
Who's the Alpha. Now,
we could make that a board game or a trivia game. Real icebreakers.
Yeah.
Who's the Alpha?
TGC's Who's the Alpha.
That's right, from stories that have come in.
Yeah. It's for 16 plus.
Now,
I don't have any.
Was he standing? Was she cradling him?
That's what I asked. I was like, is it in the lap situation?
Yeah.
Is it a lap dog
Yeah,
situation?
yeah, that's right.
Different to stat dog, lap dog. I don't know if it was that. I didn't get any more information about this because everyone was like the table was fucking stopped. It's like, what the fuck? And I was like, is it in the realm of like, Richard Gere sticking gerbils up his ass, the realm of like, it's so unrealistic. But then it's like,
so many questions.
So many questions.
So many strands.
So many questions. Anyway, wedding called off. I'm going to guess on the basis of that being, relayed back to the bride to be. And I was just thinking,
if the mother has continued to breastfeed the her son,
yeah,
from the general end of like breastfeeding age, which varies,
yeah,
for people,
yeah,
all the way through to adulthood, it just has been something they've continued on in secret.
Yep.
She's never weaned him. He's never been weaned off the breast. I just wonder what other psychological issues that would have created in the son. I need an expert. We'd need an expert to come in and say that.
That's what someone else said. That's what someone else says. Like, it would make you question everything.
Yeah, and it obviously had been going on in secret.
Yeah.
But, or was it a case of, no, if she's breastfeeding, then she's still producing milk, which means that she's never weaned.
She's never weaned. Yeah.
Unless she had been pumping that whole time, pumping the breast, using the breast pump.
Yep.
That
seems wild to me.
In readiness for one last suckle before the
meal.
wedding. Feed him one last time before letting him go at the aisle.
The Last Supper.
The last suckle. Sorry if you have misophonia.
Anyway, all I was thinking was the whole time that was like, well, this guy needs Manscaped because he's going to be single for a while now. We got there.
I thought you were relating it to Rachel Haynes retiring. And he's the man who needs to retire from their breast. This is your zone, boys.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, on that note, actually, people who are familiar with these reads know that we sort of get the promotion out and we stay faithful to the copy.
Yeah.
But what people don't know is that when we get sent the copy,
yeah,
kind of comes out on a monthly basis from our partners in America, and you're given two hyperlinks: the male host read and the female host read.
Okay.
Now, to this date, I have never clicked female host read.
Here we go.
And today I have.
Nice.
So today is the insight into what Manscaped wants a female host to read or to say to an audience that is presumably
beautiful,
female dominant, which I can safely say is not our audience. But I think I think that information should be exchanged, and perhaps this will help. Cue reality TV style music. Think Selling Sunset. Who doesn't love a man who can appreciate the finer things in life? A gold medal here, a gold watch there. But I honestly haven't read this, but we love a man who goes the extra mile. He walks with a little bit of spunk. Mm-hmm. I don't think this is meant for the UK.
He's carrying spunk around.
All the best men carry some spunk. Yeah, he walks with a little bit of spunk and has the confidence of a trophy husband. He's a big, hairless winning machine, and when he unzips his pants, he sees platinum. BBL draft.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Manscaped would like to announce that their best and biggest ultimate hygiene bundle, the Platinum Package 4.0, is now available in Australia. Now, let me just say here, guys, this is an insight into this is focus grouped writing about what women want in men.
Yes.
We get to peer under the hood.
I like it.
Peek under the hood here. Do you think it's true? Like, do women want big, hairless winning machines?
Not exclusively. We
can only guess.
Yeah.
Now, the Platinum Package 4.0 is now available in Australia. Manscaped is the leader in shaving your man's precious jewels. Mm-hmm. Now trust them with the whole shebang. Join the 6 million individuals worldwide who trust Manscaped. Okay. So now what are the talking points here? Hosts to talk about a time when they were with a guy who had hairy balls or gross/weird balls story.
Fuck, that'd be good.
Yeah, so this would be great to listen to this.
Yeah.
Women just alphaing blokes.
I was about to bang a guy and just fucking hair.
Just saw the hair. It was fucking absolute jungle down there. A veritable forest.
And then to take a rope, a map, compass.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Sundial. What?
It's the biggest 4.0 platinum package, the biggest bundle they've ever offered. It's giving you bulk discount, like a discount deluxe.
That's good.
On Manscaped's top products.
That's good.
Look, you know what's in there. You had a little bit of a go there. Platinum package 4.0. Listen, if you're interested, use the code TGC at manscaped.com. You're going to get 20% off. Fucking hell. All we're doing is offering value.
Hashtag AskTGC. A non-right in. Boys, I'd like to remain anonymous for this one, purely out of a mix of shame and confusion. I'm a stand-up comedian, unrelated to the shame and confusion. And at a show I was doing recently, another comic was talking about male urinal etiquette and his urge to resist peeking over at the guy peeing next to him to see how he measures up. On the way back from the gig, I was listening to your podcast, and when I got home, I went straight to bed where a couple of the evening's influences, the urinals, etiquette, routine, and the sound of the great cricketer, combined to result in a particularly interesting dream. In my dream, I was standing at a urinal when a bloke walked up to start using the one next to me. Lo and behold, was none other than your own Sam Perry. Obviously, I knew it'd be bad form to glance over to see what Pezza was working with, but it turned out I didn't have to, as he sort of turned and presented himself to me, revealing an enormous, thick, and dare I say, proud penis. Even in my dream state, I knew this was an uncomfortable situation, made even more so by my response of, "Get a bit of blood in it, did you?" To which Sam looked me in the eyes and said calmly but sternly, "Nope," before maintaining eye contact for what felt like an eternity. End of dream. So yeah, thoughts? Love the pod. Anon. Okay.
Well, I've got to say, I'm happy with this dream in the sense that I feel like most of the time when I turn up in audience members' dreams, there's still some kind of alphaing that goes on. You know, like, it's a really unfair alpha. It's like, oh, you did this fucking shit thing in my dream. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, that means I did it then.
You know, you wake up next to your partner, and it's like, oh, you cheated on me in the dreams. Yeah, but I did it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, they're upset at you. I didn't do that. Yeah. I didn't do that.
I didn't do that you know of.
Now, I was happy, you know, obviously I'm at the urinals.
Yeah.
There's going to be
there's
going to be an episode with my penis in this dream.
Of course.
And so we're all waiting to see how my penis is described, and I'm happy when it's described as enormous and
you
thick.
have fucking alpha the shit out of it.
But then he says, "Dare I say proud?" And I'm like, proud.
It's erect?
Well, what else does proud mean? He says, "Dare I say proud?" He's got a bit of blood in it. Now, there's a big gap in that, like, because we talk about chubbing up in the sheds.
We do.
Because, you know, I don't know about you. This has to be right, doesn't it? Like, the perfect flaccid penis at day's end.
Can that be the name of this show, please?
The perfect... No.
Episode 210.
I'm happy to push it. No, I don't want it to be the perfect... Now I'm thinking of Flacco from The Sandman and Flacco. The perfect flaccid penis at day's end.
Yes.
Does contain just a hint of blood, but not so much blood as to create pride in the penis. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We're information exchange.
You're talking about blood flow. Let's make that clear. There's no actual, like, there's no cuts and scars.
No.
Yeah. I just want to be clear. I just want to be clear for some people.
Internal, the blood that delivers the erection.
To swell the appendage.
Yeah, the appendage. But it's a question of degree, you know, because there's a difference in this dream between me turning and facing and presumably square on with a completely erect penis at him and just looking at him calmly and sternly going, nope. And me just having a good flaccid penis at days.
I like the idea that you're urinating and you've turned from 90 degrees, now face him. I presume at some point you've stopped pissing.
A bit of blood in there. Bit of blood in there. Got a bit of blood there. Nope. But the other thing is, it's quite... again, I don't know about you, but like it's quite difficult to piss with a full erection.
Oh, it's one of the hardest parts of my day. Starting the day, straight to the bathroom.
It's not the environment you want or the conditions you want for a wonderful whiz. You know, like you need something softer than that. So
yeah.
I'm hoping that if I was pissing,
Yeah.
then it can't have been a fully erect cock.
The start of the 40-year-old virgin where he goes to the bathroom and he's pissing, but he's got an erection, so he's like basically pissing on himself.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's hard. Accuracy is more difficult too.
Yeah, of course.
Well, they're my thoughts. I guess I've focused entirely on what my penis was in his dream.
Yeah.
Talking about.
Well, that's what it is. That's what the dream is.
Yeah.
So if the shoe fits, so to speak.
You think about people who listen to this show after talking about that.
Yeah.
Like parents at your children's daycare and stuff. Fucking hell. We're doing another one? Oh, we probably have time.
Yeah, go on.
Dear Eberechi Pezzi. Is that how I'm saying that?
Yeah.
Eberechi Pezzi. Let me find this on a different doc, by the way, because it's formatted poorly. Here we go. All right. Sorry, I'm just here. Yeah, okay. Dear Eberechi Pezzi and Danny Higglebottom.
Nice.
Please keep anonymous to protect my identity and the identities of those I hold dear. Okay, this is laid out like a CV. Personal details, age 28, occupation, doing just enough so as not to attract attention in a generic corporate comms role. Relationship to dad, broadly fine, but with a smattering of unspoken resentment. Rig, doughy, akin to a tear and share garlic bread. Subject to a rig improvement plan.
Tear and share garlic bread. It's quite good.
As an English man whose family has no interest in cricket and not being the sort of posh, privately educated, chinless coat who had access to any cricketing facilities in their younger years, my journey to becoming a fan of this bizarre sport, fans inverted commas, and indeed a patron of this here podcast is perhaps an unusual one. Instead of those more traditional pathways, in England that is, I got into cricket quite recently, taken in by the glorious English summer of 2019. I have never actually played the game, but now cricket has me firmly in its grasp. Nonce. His words. And I while away the hours listening to, reading about and watching the sport. I was recently speaking to an acquaintance about cricket, as is my wont, who then asked me if I wanted to come and play for a local side. Nervously, I explained my lack of experience, whilst making clear that despite this, I probably would have been a good player. Had completely unidentifiable raw talent been nurtured all those years ago. Nevertheless, he said that was fine and to come down. You can obviously take from that just how wheelie bin park shit the standards are likely to be here. Nonetheless, my mind was racing. What if I actually am fucking good at this game I just haven't been given the chance? What if after smoking 6 after 6 into a growing crowd of dazed onlookers, I lock eyes with an England scout who just so happened to be walking past, and in the blink of an eye I swap from working from home with my nuts hanging out the side of my boxers to superstardom as a white ball mercenary gun for hire in the 60s. My questions are as follows. Should I play cricket for this local side, thereby taking the first step on this journey, but more likely subjecting myself to probable humiliation in front of mostly total strangers? Is it better to live in blissful ignorance of my potential cricket playing abilities than to put them to the test and find out that I can't put bat on ball and getting slogged into the car park by some pencil-necked desk jockey who works in HR? Given what I would expect to be the absolutely vile standard of cricket which I would be participating in, and the likelihood that there is not a single decent player on either side, why do I care? Why should you care? Does any of this even matter? Keep up the good work and that. Cheers, Anon. P.S. As a recent patron, I've been working my way backwards through ASKTGCs like a sort of fucked up cricket-based sequel to Christopher Nolan's Memento. Would recommend this to others in a similar position.
A fucked up cricket-based sequel, yeah. That's nice and nice. Hey, I really like this question because it speaks to actually the premise of how we started this show, and that like it's the what if. It's the what if, isn't it? What if I'm actually amazing this thing I've never done before? When we talk to professional cricketers, we often learn that they pick up the sport quite late, or they pick up the skill of the sport, like whatever they end up executing as the professional role in the team. like later in life. So they used to be leg spinners. They turned out to be fucking Steve Smith, or I think like Brad Hogg used to be a middle order bat, and then he ended up fucking
a medium pace bowler.
That's right. Just like that kind of stuff. I mean, there's myriad examples of that throughout the history of cricket. But there's always the central tenet in that they're bigger, their hands are fucking bigger, they're thicker, they are more athletic in general. They have the affect of superstardom in their genes.
They have the genetic code for
They
pro
have the
sport.
genetic code. Great way to put it. Now, Anon doesn't suggest that he has any of these skills. He doesn't suggest that I was a great tennis player or a good footballer or anything. He's just a guy he's got an interest in the sport, and he thinks, how hard can this be? And I've seen these people over and over and over again, and they're the most uncoordinated people I've ever seen in my entire life. They're like fucking Bambi on ice. Legs akimbo. And I just think, why? Why do you do this to yourself? Maybe it's an inherent love of the sport, but I just don't understand that at all.
Because what is it about cricket? Like, in that, if you look at football or any of the rugby codes, I don't know about you, but like, I never watch that and think like, man, I could mix it. I could mix it up out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, if you just look at them run, they straight away they look fit, and the ball just moves at pace.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, no chance.
Mate, I was watching...
you survive 5 minutes at Leeds Premier League training?
Mate, so I was watching highlights of West Ham Everton on the weekend. Two, like, they'll finish somewhere in the middle of the Premier League, right?
Everton actually, they've actually sold the defence out.
That's
Tarkowski.
right. Won the first one on the weekend. Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. West Ham, good year
Connor
last year.
Cody.
Declan Rice, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just watching, like, some of the moments in that game, and I was like, fuck me, they are so good.
Yeah.
They are so fucking good.
Some of decision making.
Oh, the speed of it, the speed of decision making, it's brilliant. Like quick on the feet, like the turns of some of the players, light, agile. They just have they have joint ability that I just never had.
Twitch of it.
So I don't look at that and be like,
yeah,
probably give myself half an hour at Palace.
But cricket,
there's something about like
half an hour at Palace. Yeah, could you get on at Crystal Palace and like not end up on a highlight reel of like a fraud that played the game? The answer's no.
It's not.
They would move past you with like a frightening pace.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Or if you've ever even been to I was watching some of the NFL. I got a friend who's was at the Oakland Raiders stadium on the weekend, and there was like they were like sideline, and like some of the size of those guys. Oh my fucking god! But you can see that on camera. But when you look at cricket, like maybe it's the angle of the camera. When you watch like Jofra Arthur bowl, Jofra Archer bowl in the
And
Ashes,
his brother.
and you can Jofra Arthur.
Ben Arthur.
The French cricketer, the famous French cricketer, Jofra Arthur. Ben Arthur's. What a player for Newcastle for the Magpies. Like even when you watch him bowl in the 2019 Ashes, you can still see the ball. Like there's something about the angle.
Yeah, on TV you can see it.
And then that's why I think like part of the reason why fucking toxic men, they look at like lower levels or women's cricket or whatever, and they're like, this isn't as good. And you're like, if you were out there facing that, it's first grade. It's very very high level cricket. But like but there's something about cricket, the angle, the camera, or something that you're like, I can see it. Just move towards the ball and just hit it. Just got to hit it.
And then when you it's like giving a speech, like in that when you watch somebody give a speech, you can't they're just on stage. You can't see what they see. But then when you walk up to the lectern or the pulpit, then you like look or wherever you're giving a speech and you look out at everyone, you go, oh fuck, that feeling.
Yeah.
Like cricket's like that then you get into the middle and then you see the guy coming in. You're like, oh shit,
mate, Tremlett running in at you.
Exactly. Yeah. But this, I think there's obviously plenty of self awareness from
Anon
here, and he's in true corporate comm style. He doesn't want to have any association with what he said. He just wants to be a faceless fucking
written by staff writers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Takes one to know one, but like what he is calling out is something that you never get over as a cricketer. I mean, we're talking about this with September, like this idea that once you're away from the game, you'll somehow you somehow may then just conjure the skills that you need to be good at it.
Right.
Like, mate, we're having a net on Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I might hit the ball well. against all rationality.
Right.
All rationality. I know what happens. I've done it hundreds of times.
Yep.
But I still have this thing of like, may just fucking absolutely cream them.
Yeah.
Because I already know that, like, I know the specifics of my biomechanical weaknesses.
Right.
And I also know that, especially through having a net last year, that my eyes are painted on. That's fucking, the paint is chipped.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, like, he's asking one of these existential questions about the game, and one of the paradoxes of the game is, why do I still think I could do this?
Yeah.
Of course, but wouldn't it be great if for this bloke he just could? He's like, I just have this untapped talent. Never knew I could do it.
Yeah.
Like, believe me, with cricket, it would have worked out you could do it because someone would have watched you hit something or whatever, or punched your brother, and gone like, no, you should get a bat. You should hit a few things. If a bat hasn't made its way into your hands and you haven't worked it out, it's not even private school shit. Then you can't play. But by the same token, it could be like what's happening in Sri Lanka at the moment. They've got like talent scouts going around at the moment, just saying, come and have a bowl here. And they might fast track you through the grades, you know? So imagine that. Like, he wouldn't even have to play like club cricket or anything. He just fucking bombs a few blokes, gets scouted by somebody. All of a sudden he's playing for England. Fuck, you'd save yourself some heartache.
Literally, Harris Raff did that. He went to Lahore, didn't he?
He went through twos at West.
That's true.
Mate,
every time I see him get an international wicket, I was like, what the fuck was happening at that club? What the fuck were they thinking? Also, Anon's 28, and he's probably in his peak batting years now, so maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. All right, thanks everyone for sticking with us this week. It's all heating up as we head towards the Australian summer and the end of the UK winter. Thanks very much for Ben Horne's time today. We'll see you coats on the internet next week. Cheers.